What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of What Not to Do. This is not just another episode, though. This is a special episode. This is episode number 10, and producer Dakota had a great idea to celebrate 10 episodes of this crazy show that we're making by bringing on some extra hosts for the show here. So I'm Eric Lloyd. I operate Oregon Risk Management Solutions. I'm a safety consultant and safety trainer working with the ag industry throughout the state of Oregon.
Hi, I'm Luis. I'm the translator and the fire tech.
Hi there, I'm Kyle Liker. I'm the CPR first aid instructor.
All right, so we've got a whole board of people to respond to some of the crazy videos that producer Dakota found for us here, just like in all our other episodes. We're gonna watch some safety fails. We're gonna maybe laugh at what happened and cross our fingers that everybody walked away from it. Pretty sure they did. We're going to talk about what we could learn from it, maybe what we could do different. We're going to talk about what not to do. So with that, we're going to kick off episode 10 and go into our first clip. Let's see what Dakota's got for us. Worksite shows us why OSHA exists.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow. What?
Is that a tower?
Is that a tower or a pipe? I don't know. That would be why OSHA exists. What do you guys think?
I think he's lucky.
He's real lucky for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, can you let that dust settle? Did he make it out of there?
I think he made it out.
Yeah, he came out the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he pops out behind the bushes.
Yep, there is.
When we get into construction sites and stuff with overhead hazards, we've had some spots we go where we got to wear hard hats, but I think that might be beyond a hard hat keeping him safe even.
Yeah, that's the first thing that crossed my mind. Hard hats would be good, but I don't know if that's going to save anybody in that scenario.
Man, I'm thinking in a spot like that, if we're moving that kind of equipment, we probably need spotters on the ground and like some kind of, caution tape, fencing, a barrier, just keep everybody completely out of there.
Yeah.
That thing was long too. That was a big space.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
pretty wild. So producer Dakota just pointed out that in the top left of the screen, you can see it's a crane truck that starts to come off to the ground. I do wonder if we had our outriggers in place that might affect the stability on that. Or otherwise, maybe we just way overloaded what we were lifting with that. Guys, I think the real takeaway here, though, is the hazards of texting in the workplace, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what caused the whole
Don't
problem.
get distracted by your phones.
Yeah, 100%. Without further ado, let's get into the next clip.
Got a dude on a stand-up forklift. I hate those forklifts. He doesn't even have any cage or anything over him.
Oh my gosh,
whoa.
dude.
He's feeling that. All right, paramedic Kyle, what kind of injuries are we dealing with here?
That's like a traumatic brain injury, potentially, depending on what that's made of. But yeah, that's like medical attention, immediately.
What would you want for first aid measures? What should his coworkers be doing right now?
They should have 911 dialed, being dialed right now, and then get him the quickest access to getting out and on the way. But yeah, making sure his airway is clear of blood and just try and minimize the bleeding as best you can. I haven't seen any blood hit the floor yet, but I have a hard time imagining it's not going to draw something.
Yeah, no kidding. Holy cow. I don't know if it would have even been enough to stop that thing from popping off or not, but the other thing we see with pallet racking like that a lot is, we got to have those bolts or those tabs to hold the crossbars in to keep them from popping loose, and makes you wonder if that was in place there too. Feels like a little bit of using the wrong tool for the job, having that forklift that can fit underneath that bar.
Yeah,
maybe the forks weren't long enough to be able to grab what he was getting to.
Alrighty, let's check out clip number 3.
Got like a metal shop or something here. No one was harmed during this recording. Whoa! So producer Dakota always finds themes for these, and I think the theme for today is traumatic head injuries. What is that even?
I don't know.
I mean, it's rotating.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of easy access to get in and around that thing.
Yeah.
There's a whole walkway there I don't see any signage or nothing.
Yeah, for sure. Again, maybe an area that we create some standoff distance there. And I mean, in this case, who knows if it would have made a difference, but I don't see any PPE on him. A lot of that type of facility, safety glasses, again, maybe hard hats are pretty standard requirement. We look at the big shrapnel coming by that kind of bounces off of them, but boy, you get some of that little stuff in your eyes, and that can be a real serious injury too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing protecting anybody there.
Yeah. you know, that might be something where it's appropriate to have even like a screen or a secondary shield outside of that.
I mean, even him falling down, I mean, it looks like he hits his head on the ground. It's like a secondary thing. And, you know,
Boy, you're right. He's holding his head as he walks off, huh?
Hard hat, I mean, may not help with the initial blast as much, but definitely that part right there.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's up next. Oh. Oh. Oh, no. That's not a ride-on machine. Little tamper knocking down the dirt there that gets away from him.
Looks like he whiskey throttled the...
Yeah. I don't know. You'd hope some of those would have like dead man switches almost, that like when you let off the throttle on it,
It just kills it.
yeah, that it would shut off. Part of me wonders if we didn't, you know, disable a safety feature and clip the wires for the shut off switch, or, you know, pin it down, wire it down, something like that. Huh?
Throttle got stuck or something.
Yeah, throttle got stuck. That's true. It could be a maintenance issue too. But boy, I suppose there's also something we said. See, when it tips over, he tries to save it. He tries to grab onto it. You know, we talk about that with like runaway equipment, a tractor that we don't park correctly, and so it starts running down a hill, right? And our instinct is to save it, to jump on it and try and stop it. When really what we should be doing is just saying, let it go, right? Holler ahead, hey, everybody watch out. The moment that thing tipped, you probably should have just let off of it and let it run off, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if at any point in this video he looks comfortable, you know, running that machinery. So I don't know if he had any kind of training beforehand or what that process was.
Good point. Probably the new guy, right?
Yeah.
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 Calling him out. No, training for sure is a factor there. You're right. He looks real uncomfortable with that.
Let's see what video 5 has in store for us.
Oh my gosh, we're way up in there.
He's holding the excavator. That doesn't seem safe.
I'm surprised that crane hadn't tipped.
Yeah.
That's the same kind as the other one, huh? And it didn't tip over, so at least they remember to use their outriggers, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about this in some previous episodes too, but pretty much anytime we're picking people up in a piece of machinery with a crane, something has gone off the rails on this. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is probably another clip from a third world country that might not have the stringent OSHA oversight that we do. But yeah, if anything goes wrong there, we're going to have a real bad day, huh?
Agreed.
Oddly enough, it feels like dynamite might even be safer.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
And they make, you know, remote drilling pieces and things like that. I mean, it's a function of just using the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think he's got a fire extinguisher in that second crane, though?
If he does, it's not tagged.
All right, well, let's check out number 6. Oh, my favorite.
Yeah. You guys having flashbacks to picking up nitrogen for our extinguishers?
I think only he is. He's the one in charge of that.
Whoa! Oh my gosh.
Is that why you hate picking them up?
Does everybody walk away from that?
That's why I don't like being around.
There, he's getting up. Look at that. He says, what on earth was that? And it doesn't even look like it like tips over or anything. Where'd that come from?
It looks like he just popped, like unscrewed the top right off, and it was pressurized.
Wow.
There wasn't a single cap on any of those.
No,
It doesn't look like.
No, there wasn't. That's a good catch. You're right. You know, were there for like distributors like that, which I would assume they have, having that many cylinders there, maybe. They're not necessarily required to have them all secured. They can nest them together, but for sure the safety caps are off of it there. And it definitely is at least a best practice to secure them up. But man, that's got to be another either maintenance or use issue, right? We didn't get the valve installed in it correctly, or something was worn out for it to fail like that. No, that's a good point, that the cylinders should be hydro tested as well. So it might have been a function of using a compromised cylinder that either wasn't getting tested correctly, or you know, got tested, failed, and got put back into service by somebody, that the cylinder itself ruptured. That may well have been what's going on here.
Yeah, I think it's lucky it didn't have a domino effect, and we didn't have that one go, and then, you know, the rest of the stack there as well.
For sure.
But he did turn off the valve at the end.
Oh, there is that. That's like safety second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, continuing on, we've got clip number 7. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got another crane here.
Got 2 cranes.
Ooh, we're tipping.
They're on it still.
Just riding it out.
Oh.
Whoa, and gets launched. Oh, man. But at least somebody had the presence to mind to just stand back and film all that so we could talk about it at least. What are the chances that they saw it start to get light, and there's two guys on that, isn't there, that they stood onto it trying to keep it from tipping? Yeah. But if we're talking about that much weight to be able to tip that thing over, the weight of a couple more dudes isn't going to have much effect, is it?
Not at all.
And they've got the outriggers out, at least on both sides. Yep. So they were maybe using that correctly at least, but must have had it too much weight extended too far out. We were just talking about that in a forklift class this morning, that, the higher up we get, the further we're reaching with that weight, the more leverage there is. And all of these machines, are posted with, hey, you can pick up this much weight at this height, this far out, and your capacity goes down exponentially as we get way high up in the air like that.
Yeah, and they definitely know they're pushing their limits there, and we're just thinking, a couple extra 100 pounds might solve it, but
right.
Yeah, that's not the case.
Probably another spot where we should have just stood back and watched it tip if it was going to happen, huh?
I can't believe they wrote it out.
Let's see what we got with number 8.
Near-death experience with an excavator.
Why is he standing under it?
Right? Ooh. Holy cow, that bucket just about smushed him, didn't it? Dang. That's pretty wild. Definitely should have never put ourselves underneath that. Kyle, if that had landed on him, what do you think about for first aid procedures there?
I mean, if he's a touch closer and that gets back of his head, I don't know if there's any first aid procedures that are going to help you out there with that much weight coming down on, pretty sensitive part of the body there, your brain. I don't know what we could do for that. Jeez.
I know sometimes when we get crush injuries like that, where you're not necessarily hitting the head, but pinned underneath something, people's instinct is to we got to try and move that thing. We got to get him out of there. And sometimes that can be, I think, the worst thing we could do, right? Yeah. If that did land on him, probably it's a stabilize him there and call 911 and wait for the pros to get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any major bleeding that you do have, we'll try and take care of it. But yeah,
he's a lucky dude.
All right, and we're on to number 9. Let's see what we got. Hard hat.
He's high vis. We can see him have a near-death experience.
Whoa. I had a power line.
Whoa, that's what's going on. You're right. Holy cow.
Don't get out.
Oh,
don't get out. Don't get out.
There.
Don't get out.
Whoa.
Oh, my goodness.
Holy cow. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what happened. See, the truck was stationary, so it must have been that other piece of equipment hit the power line and dropped it on it, or did he pull forward into it just now? I have never seen footage of that.
You have personal experience with that.
I do have personal experience with that. Because remember, 2 months ago or something, we had a dump truck dumping gravel out by our shop and proceeded to rip the electrical line off the side of our house. Was it you that called me, Dakota? And let me know. We had a live wire down in our driveway that we all had to implement some emergency procedures for. And that's why. And, our instinct was all to say, don't get out, because we, that is the common response is, hey, as long as you sit in it, it's once you touch the ground, you become grounded. A lot of times those tires insulate you. The one, I suppose, factor to consider with that is, it looked like there was maybe the truck was having some inclination of catching on fire.
Oh, for
and
sure.
If we get into that scenario, I think the advice generally is to try and jump as far clear as you can, because the electricity can definitely run out through the ground some distance. The distance is usually controlled by moisture levels, right? So the further you can get clear from it, the better chance you've got. It's a judgment call, but if the truck is not trying to go up in flames, just sitting in the cab till we de-energize the line, it's probably the best bet. But
yeah, I think the fact that he wasn't touching, he was elevated up in the cab there, and when he did get out, I don't think he was making contact with the truck, but if he was touching that truck while he was touching the ground, he would have been in pretty bad shape.
Jeez. Okay, and we've got one last clip for our super episode here. Clip number 10 for episode number 10. Let's go out with a bang.
Oh my gosh.
And that we did.
Whoa. When I said let's go out with a bang, producer Dakota gave me a look like I knew what I was talking about here. Wow. So is that like a propane truck maybe? That must have been what that was. It was like a propane truck that, the valve on the back failed. I don't think the tank fully levied, but it was definitely venting everything out the back there. and then got into a source of ignition.
On the bright side, he probably got the fastest quarter mile for that make and
This is
model.
probably
Though.
true. Might be a land speed record for a propane truck.
Yeah.
What type of fire extinguisher do you use for that fire?
Hopes and prayers?
Yeah. Yeah, we use the stand way back and call 911 fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And that probably comes back to either a maintenance issue, right? We didn't inspect our equipment properly. We didn't maintain the valves or connectors for it, or a training issue, right? Somebody didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what to look for. They didn't know how to manage a hookup on it. It's got to come down to one or the other of those, I would think. So that's going to be episode 10 of What Not to Do. We had our super episode to celebrate number 10. We're excited to be doing this. These are a lot of fun to make. We're getting a lot of positive feedback of people that are watching them. If you're enjoying this, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Share this around to your friends, to your coworkers. If you got clips that we can feature on here, send them on over to us, and worst case is we might call you out for sending them to us, but that's always fun too. Make sure you check out our website, OregonRMS.com. We've got information on our medical supplies, our fire extinguishers, a lot of the other services that we offer. If you need custom training content or custom training videos, we can do that for you. That's going to be everything for this episode, I think. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here for number 11.